Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make this fun front floating hexagon card. Obviously it's hard to show you in a 2D video, but it folds flat to fit into the envelope and then it pops out with this lovely hexagon shape and the front is free floating. It's not very complicated, so without further delay let me get started and show you how we make it. It's using a piece of bubble bath cardstock and it's just a quarter sheet, so it's 5.5 by 4 1/4 and it's scored at 1 1/4 in on each side. So that's the basis of the card, and then there are two pieces which go across the front and they are 6 inches, so it's the same, 1 1/4. However, there is an extra little 1/4 inch at the side to attach it, so you score it at 1/4 and then you score it at 1 1/2, so it allows for the extra pieces. As always, of course, the directions and dimensions and any scoring details will be on my blog, so you don't have to panic and think, wait, what did she say? So that's the top and the bottom. There is a piece for the back because it's all free floating, and where would you sign? So I just put a piece of basic white on the back, and that is 2 3/4 by 4. In fact, you know what, there's nothing else to, it doesn't affect anything, so let's stick that on the back already. So it just layers in and then it gives you somewhere to sign. So then the designer series paper is the lovely celebratory sips, and this was the one that I used because it's just busy and floral. So the pieces that fit, they're 4 inches and each side, so there's 1 inch and 1 inch, and there is 2 3/4 that go on the inside, and then there are these little pieces that fit across the top. But the inside pieces I'm actually going to mat onto some granny apple green. So the outside pieces are 1 1/8 by 4 1/8 for those to mat onto. So you've just got a little peek of the greenery, just it gives it a little extra pop. And then the inside piece is 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. But again, like I said, all the directions and dimensions and all the sizes will actually be on my blog. So I'm going to just attach the designer series paper pieces to the granny apple green. Ooh, it is just such a small little border, but I just think it made a difference. The first one I made didn't have that, and it looked, all right. But anyway, here we go, and I'm just trying to keep the pieces so the pattern matches going across. Pop those on, and that's how we will build it. Now, because it's going to keep popping open, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach the panels to the front using tear and tape, and the tear and tape I have is just 1/4 inch wide, so you just have to place it very carefully. So we just need a piece that's wide enough, and just pop it carefully so then it can withstand the opening and the closing as it's being stood up. So we just have to have 4 little pieces on each of the ends. Oh, torture. It's that horrible feeling when you knew you had the end and then you lost it. It's worse on the sticky tape, on regular Scotch tape, sellotape, than it is on this, because at least it's thick enough that when you roll your fingers around you can actually feel where it was. That torturous feeling when you have like packing tape or something, and it doesn't matter how many times you go round and round, it's like, where's the end? All right, so they're all fastened on. So what we'll do is we will put one on the top and the bottom of a side. It's like, pick a side, any side. Because I'm a lefty, I tend to sort of work that way, so I'm going to stick mine to the right, but doesn't matter because they both end up stuck down. I'm just putting my silicone mat down because it's a darker sort of contrasting surface so you can see it. So we just need to match this up to the corner without getting your head in the shot, right at the edge. So it's free floating. And then we'll do the same. And all of the pieces, they're the same measurement, so there's no upside down or right way up or any of that good stuff. Whichever corner you choose to put where, it will match on the other side. So that's those two pieces attached, and you can see how you can see the edge, which is one of the reasons I also wanted to add the extra bit of the granny apple green, because it just gives it a bigger surface to mask the fact, to hide the fact that this has got a little extra piece put on. So now we've got the edge put on, we can go ahead and attach that one. And you can attach the middle piece, but we're not going to put the other side on until the very end, because we've got to attach this side over, and it's quite easy-ish to just slip it into place. So that's the inside built. Now we can go and build the outside pieces. So we just have to remember the order that they were in, because like I say, I was trying to match the pattern going across, and these ones are just a little bit skinnier. So we'll pop that on, and it just leaves the little border around. So these little pieces are just 3/4 of an inch deep by 1 inch wide, and the middle piece is 2 3/4 by 3/4 wide. Just make sure I've actually bent that so I can see where it's trying to go. I think what I'll do is I'll just put a diagram of the whole piece and then mark where it's all cut, because it's actually easier to cut one big piece of designer series paper and then slice it down. So that will be on my blog. This was just a piece to show. Now the next step, of course, is the lovely floating front section. And the way we're doing that is we're going to use some window sheet. They do still sell window sheets in the new catalogue. However, if you don't, I have to put it down somewhere really carefully because I've lost it so many times. If you don't have window sheets, or you don't want to invest in a whole pack, what you can do is use one of the clear cellophane envelopes, or even one of the big cellophanes that if you buy a die, they come in this outer cellophane. It is a little bit more flimsy, but you can just slice it up, because once I've taken my pack out of this, I don't ever use this anymore. So just they are two sort of like cheap and cheerful alternatives. So this little piece of window sheet that I have is 1 1/4 inches wide, and it's 3.5 inches deep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some more tear and tape and just pop a little piece at the top and the bottom, because that is going to go on the inside. You won't be able to see the sticky or anything. It doesn't even need disguising from the other side. So there we have it. What you have to do is make sure that where you've stuck it doesn't pull one of these arms askew. So my best trick is to peel off the backing tape, lay this down where you think it would look best, and then just close that on. So again, we'll do the bottom part, and as long as you make sure this is closed evenly across the bottom and such, when you next pick it up, your piece of window sheet is fastened to the inside. And then what I did was I cut 2 circles. So the circles I use are actually way old. These are layering circles. I just fancied the little scalloped edge, but you can use the stylish shapes, you can use squares, you can use punches, You just need a bigger piece and a smaller piece. So what I'm going to do is stamp the greeting, and I'm using Simply Said, and I'm going to stamp it in Berry Burst. And one of my favorite greetings was Just a Note. So let's have Just a Note. And it's a nice, the Berry Burst is such a lovely dark, it's red like it means it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sandwich the piece in between. So I'm going to open it and put a little bit of tear and tape on the cellophane, not onto the green piece, because that's a little bit harder to line up actually. So just a piece, and I'm going to put it in the middle, and then open it, and then you can see where this can go evenly. So you can see the clear has got more or less even on both sides. If I'm honest, that's not even, but it's about 1/16 of an inch. So a man on a galloping horse isn't going to be able to see the difference of that. So that attaches that to the back. And now, because we know this is going to just layer onto there, we can actually put the sticky for the next layer onto the back of the top piece. So just 2 pieces of sticky tape, just so that it guarantees that it actually sticks to the window sheet. I'm pretty sure glue would stick, and I'm pretty sure rolling adhesive would stick. But here's the thing, I know tear and tape will stick. So just going to line that up as a layer. It's going to sandwich the little window in between, and then you can't see any of anything. And there we have it. So now what we're going to do is we are going to close these pieces down. Bear in mind, we've still got this piece to go in. So I'm going to take the tear and tape off. Oops. Tuck that under and line these pieces up so they go over, and do the same on the other side. And I know when I did my last one, there was like a little gap, and I was like, satin. And I've got the same deal here. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to take my snips, and I'm just going to cut a slither up the side of here and get rid of that little piece. It's just, you know, that whole tale that I tell every time when there's a difference. It just depends where it falls in the cutting trough on the paper trimmer. Well, this just depended on where it fell when I was scoring it. And now all we have to do is pop the last piece on the inside, and that's easier to do, especially because it's double thickness and it's got the granny apple green behind it. So I'm just going to tip that forward so I can see where this can go. I mean, you've really just got to peek in yourself to line it up and close it down. So now it's going to go flat into the envelope. It's going to pop up and be a lovely hexagon. And the crowning glory is I'm going to pop some of these new strawberry slush and pretty pink gems. Well, one of the colors in this pack is pretty and pink, not actually strawberry slush. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the pretty and pink ones, so they will pick out the lighter color, and then I'm just going to use one of the clear ones, because then that's a neutral, isn't it? I don't want to put strawberry slush and it be quite the wrong color. So there you have it, 2 cards the same. They've got a lovely hexagon shape, they've got the free floating front, there's somewhere on the back to sign, and I think they are rather delicious. So like I say, the directions and dimensions will always be on my blog. If you've got a question or a comment, pop those into the description box below. If you like what you've seen, please consider subscribing. That keeps my algorithm busy so I can bring more ideas to you. Thumbs up, thank you in advance for those. And last but not least, thanks so much for watching.